Hello all. Today we won't be gaming. Sorry. No. We will be talking about something far, far, far more interesting. Welcome to Tillminish Rambles On about music theory. Music theory is probably one of the most boring things you can learn as a musician. But being a musician, I have to study this. For those of you who aren't musicians, this will be even more boring. Or it might be interesting, because this is something new and I doubt a whole lot of you want to know this. More specifically, what I'm going to be talking about is what we who study music call the circle of fifths. This is what the circle of fifths looks like. Pretty intimidating, I know, but it's an easy beast to tame if you know your stuff. In order to understand the circle of fifths, we first have to look at the order of sharps and flats, as shown here and here. The order of sharps and flats is what we will use to determine how many of them there are in any given scale, and which sharp or flat is first in the sequence. For instance, E major, as shown here, has 4 sharps, which are F, C, G, and D, in that order. Now, let's try D flat. D flat has 5 flats, which is shown in the diagram here. The 5 flats are as follows: B, E, A, D, and G, in that order. Pretty simple, right? Well, what if I told you that you might be asked which scale has 2 sharps in it, or any number of sharps in it? That's pretty hard, right? It's actually pretty easy. Without looking at the chart, we can use a function. Yes, I said a function. Yes, that means we have to do simple math. I know. I'm awful. This is the function. For sharps, we start from F, and we count going right how many sharps we are trying to find, then add 2 to get to the answer. For flats, we would start on B and count right X numbers, then subtract to get the answer. It's rather simple. We've just been asked with which scale has 2 sharps. Using the sharps function and the order of sharps, starting from F, we would count 2 letters left. So starting on F, we would end on C. And then we would add 2, which would give us our final answer is D. The scale that has 2 sharps in it is D, otherwise known as D natural. Say for flats, let's say which scale has 5 flats in it. So we would start on B and then count 5 right, and that means we would end on G, and then we'd subtract 1, which would get us D. And this is the confusing part. Yes, sharps for D, this is a D natural, but for flats, the D turns into a D flat, which means it is a half step below the given key. That's also pretty confusing, so I won't get into that. But anyway, that's as simple as it gets. If I were to explain even more about music theory, your brains would probably melt. Thanks for listening, and because I am lazy, it might be a while before the next upload. See you then. Adieu. Oh, and please, always remember to practice your scales.